ਪੁੰਜ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਥ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਹਰ ਬੁੱਧਵਾਰ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰੋਡ ਟੂਡੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਤੋਂ ਮਨਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਜੀ। ਵੈਲਕਮ ਗੁप्ता ਜੀ।
ਦੀਪਕ ਜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ ਔਰ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਟੈਲੀਵਿਜ਼ਨ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਭਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਨਮਸਕਾਰ। ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹਫਤਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਹਰ ਬੁੱਧਵਾਰ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਦੇ ਸਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਟੈਲੀਵਿਜ਼ਨ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਰੋਤਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ।
ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੇ ਟੋਪੀਕੋ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ ਰੀ-ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਖੜੇ ਨੇ ਤੀਸਰੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਡੰਕਨ ਔਰ ਬੜੇ ਹੀ ਇੱਕ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਨੇ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਮਨਨ ਜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਮਨਨ ਜੀ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ।
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜੀ, ਵੀ ਆਰ ਵੈਰੀ ਪਲੀਜ਼ਡ ਟੂ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਡੰਕਨ, ਡਾਕਟਰ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਡੰਕਨ, member parliament from Etobicoke North from the last 2 terms. So it's great honor for us to welcome you and to have you amongst us in a very busy election schedule.
Sat Sri Akal, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, and to those celebrating Eid Mubarak.
Absolutely.
And I just have to say it's a real honor to be on your show, and Bol Bol Badanya on your wonderful success.
Thank you very much. We wish you the same. Kirsty, I know you. I was more comfortable, addressing you as Dr. Duncan, but you said no. Kirsty is fine.
Just Kirsty.
So that's fine. I'll try. So Kirsty, you were first elected in 2008.
That's right.
And then you were re-elected in 2011. So you have been a member of parliament representing Etobicoke North for the last 7 years or so. So tell us something about your political journey so far.
Okay. It's been the greatest joy to serve the people of Etobicoke North. That's the community where I'm born and raised. And I left a job I loved at the university to serve the people I love. And we have a really busy constituency office. We see 50 to 100 families a day. And we don't operate like a political office. We do whatever the people need. So I run a clothing bank from downstairs. I produce a sheet of where you eat for free 24 hours a day. I help our youth get jobs. We take youth battling mental health challenges to hospital. And then at the national level, I've been the health critic, the environment critic, status of women, international development, and consular critic for our party. So we've done a lot of work.
That's wonderful.
So last time you had a Punjabi candidate against you, like from Conservative Party, and this year, what's going on in your riding?
So this year, we're working really hard. We've knocked on over 58,000 doors, and I never want to be the person who comes just at election time. So every weekend for the last 2 years, we've knocked on doors. And it's an exciting election. We have lots of young people because I've always spent my time, teaching, being with young people. So we have wonderful young people involved. It's a busy office, and we're just...
Do you have the same boundaries? And in the last 7-8 years, the demography of your area has been changed or not? And which community is more in your area? And what are their issues?
Oh, great question. So we do have a new part of the riding, and it's really exciting for me because it's right near where I went to middle school and where I went to high school. So on the weekend, I'm going door to door, and I'm meeting people I haven't seen in several decades. And that's exciting. We are proudly the 5th most diverse riding in the entire country, and I say proudly. So I election in 7 languages. Okay. I'm not good at all, but I work hard. One of my greatest joys has been serving the South Asian community, learning the languages, learning the cultures, learning the religions, and I thank the people for teaching me.
Right. I was looking at the Stats Canada, details. It mentioned that around 32% of your population in Etobicoke North is South Asian descent, out of 117,000. So that's pretty exciting. So that means it's a happening.
It is very exciting.
Wherever South Asians live, they bring in a lot of excitement, a lot of fun, and a lot of challenges also.
They bring what I have learned. It's the warmth, it's the generosity of the people. My whole family now, so my mom is Polish and Ukrainian, my dad's Scottish.
Wow.
And They look forward to Vaisakhi each year. My mom cannot believe the generosity of the people. And now she brings all her friends and they all go to see and be part of Vaisakhi. It's important to them.
That's good. That's good.
It's lovely.
There is one question actually from your writing. Somebody asked me to ask you on his behalf. It's a little harsh question. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, go ahead.
Have you ever won Nobel Prize?
In my former life, I was a researcher at the university, and I taught meteorology, climatology, climate change. And our government asked me to serve on something called the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. You are appointed by your government. It's a big honor. And in 2007, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and Al Gore were jointly awarded the Nobel Prize.
And you were in that team, Al Gore's team.
I was part of the Intergovernmental Panel. Yes, it was a great honor.
That's very nice to know. Congratulations for your contributions.
Thank you.
So we can probably say you are a Nobel laureate?
Well, I never say that. I say I'm part of the Intergovernmental Panel, which was jointly awarded.
Right. So how long you contributed in that panel?
I represented North America. I looked at climate change and its impact on health, because climate change has many impacts: heat waves, malaria spreading with climate change. These are serious health issues. So my job was to look at climate change and its impact on the health of North Americans.
Did you ever speak about climate change in House of Commons?
Yes, I have.
It's a major issue.
It's the most pressing environmental issue we have facing the planet. We are all very concerned that if it gets warmer by 2 degrees Celsius, there are impacts on our fisheries, on our agriculture, sea level rises. This is a huge issue. We have to address it, and our children and grandchildren are going to say, why didn't you act?
So the government listened to you on that or not?
Well, I'm really excited. I had served as the environment critic for our party. That was a great honor, and I started the first ever all-party climate change caucus on Parliament Hill. That had never been done. And so we bring in experts from around Canada and beyond to teach, to share with MPs what we can do to act on climate change.
As an expert, what are the major reasons for climate change? Emissions or traffic, or other than that, what are the major issues?
Oh, you ask really good questions. It's that we humans have put greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and we are having an impact on the climate. I work with people in Africa, I work with people in India and Bangladesh, and many countries are seeing the impacts of climate change right now. I mean, think of the ice storm we had in Canada.
Yes.
Think of Hurricane Katrina. We're seeing these major storms. And, the predictions are in the future, we will see more changes. So we have to take action for our children and for our grandchildren.
Talking about climate change, one of the, very key issue economically, also environmentally, is our pipelines.
Yes.
Just yesterday we heard Hillary Clinton, she also said that she's not in favor of Keystone Pipeline, which your party, Liberal Party, is very much in support of, and so is the Conservative Party. How do you see announcements or political statements like those impacting the overall decision on Keystone?
I think we really, because this government has failed to act on climate change. In fact, they've taken us backwards on climate change. They are the only government to pull out of the Kyoto Protocol. They're going to miss their 2020 emissions targets by 20%, their 2030 targets by 30%. And so we're seeing other governments. Canada has won these fossil awards internationally. I think what you're going to see with Mr. Trudeau is a real change internationally. He wants to show that Canada We'll be back. We're going to engage internationally. We're going to be a good partner. And what he said on climate change is if elected, he will go to the climate negotiations in Paris. This is an important year for climate. We have to negotiate an international agreement, and he will take the premiers and the territorial leaders, and there will be a target for Canada, and we're going to have to make it.
But why the government is so tough that they don't want to change, to bring changes in this problem, in this big problem? Why is that?
There has been tremendous resistance. I mean, to pull out of Kyoto, I mean, that was absolutely devastating. I think of in the past, I think of our leaders. They built national railways, that went across the country. Our Canadians fought in the world wars. They fought for a better Canada, for a free Canada. We've had leaders that dream. They want better for Canada. And that's what I want to see in a leader. I think that's what we have with Mr. Trudeau.
Yeah.
He wants better for Canada because better is always possible.
Right. Kirsty, as a trained professional, you are a medical geographer.
Yes.
Tell our, share what is that terminology stand for? As a layman, I don't know much about what does a medical geographer mean. So please share.
Manan, you're very kind to ask. I'm interested in how the environment affects human health.
Okay.
And I'm also interested in how diseases spread and how we can prevent them and how we can be ready should there be a new disease. That's where my interests lie.
Wonderful. That's very rare.
Do you think that the provincial problems and provincial issues, those will matter in this federal election?
Well, I think in terms of what, Deepak?
In terms of sex education curriculum.
And so many other,
Well, no, let me address this because, as I said, I've knocked on 58,000 doors.
Okay.
And every weekend since February, particularly, and, since June, it's pretty well every day. And every weekend, I've heard the concerns of our families.
Yeah.
And every weekend, I would share, or every week, with our provincial member, because education is provincial.
Yes.
And I'd say, this is when I'm hearing our families are concerned, I even had 3 meetings with the community. Even though I can't move the provincial government,
Yep.
I need to listen to our community,
Yes.
and I need to be a voice for them. And people are concerned, and I know in our community, our parents will teach children their values, and that's really important.
Because many people in our community, they say that because it's federal and provincial same level, they say that Justin Trudeau should tell Kathleen Wynne about this, and they should bring some.
We've
changes to
heard
it.
that people say it's liberal, it's the same party. It's not.
It's not.
It's very different levels of government.
Okay.
So I can take action at the federal level. So to give you examples where I've taken action on health, I fight very hard for brain and mental health conditions. That affects 1 out of 3 Canadians. 40 years ago, we took action on the heart. Today, you can get a new valve, you can get a bypass, you can even get a new heart.
Yeah.
But what happens if you have dementia, or Parkinson's disease, or multiple sclerosis, or you have a child with autism? There just isn't the help there that Canadians need. And yesterday, I was out knocking on a door, and this family's in tears because they're dealing with a mother with Parkinson's, and it's hard. And we need to do more for our families, and that's where I can have real action.
Yeah. But Kirsty, don't you think that considering the fact that Premier Kathleen Wynne has been very proactively and vocally, asking the constituents all across Ontarians to vote for federal Liberal Party, she's supporting Justin Trudeau as the next Prime Minister. Don't you think the baggage from the Liberal government is going to impact and harm prospects of federal Liberal candidates? There are so many baggages, like just today the scathing report by Auditor General on, the community center, the Community Care Access Center, CCAC, issues like those, issues like selling of Hydro One, they're very, they're very sensitive issues.
Yes. Well, what I say to the people, let me speak on my record.
Sure.
Let me tell you what I've done for us. And I was able to get a $500,000 jobs program for our community. We need jobs in Etobicoke North.
Right.
I was able to get $1 million athletic facility. At the start of this election, I was able to get $300,000 for our community. I work hard to get our community what we need. And at the national level, when I think of the people I fight for, and those with brain and mental health conditions, some of these people, some of them fight every day just to get through the day.
Right.
And I work quietly behind the scenes. When someone calls me at 2 a.m, I sleep with my BlackBerry beside my bed. People don't know that.
Yeah.
People have my phone number. Yeah. If they're in trouble, they call me. I get calls at 2, at 3, at 4 a.m, and it's from desperate Canadians, and I'm a voice on the end.
That's really very good.
That's very inspiring, I must say. And I was reading a couple of years ago, there was a story in Maclean's, which is Canada's national magazine. They mentioned that they took your name and they mentioned you as one of the hardest, working parliamentarians at House of Commons. Which is a great, I must say, honor for you and for all your constituents, those who have chosen you. I
was really humbled by that. I do work hard.
Yeah.
In Ottawa, there's a joke. I'm there till 2, 3, 4 a.m. It's really bad when the security guards are bringing you candy because they know you're up working late at night. Yes. But what I've always said, I don't know how long you get to do this job. That's up to the people.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And the people have put their faith in me, their trust in me, and I want to serve them to the best of my abilities. I think of our veterans. These are people who put their life on the line for Canada. Anyone who has ever put on a uniform. Yeah. I think of what they have done, what they have sacrificed. And yes, I can work till 2 and 3 and 4 a.m.
Maybe that's why you won last time, even as your party leader got defeated. I hope this time the story will not be repeated, because it was in the news that Mr. Justin Trudeau, he is trailing from Montreal. Is that right?
Oh, listen, Justin was, you may not know this, Justin was my seatmate in the House of Commons.
Yes, I used to see that, when I used to watch the parliamentary gallery.
Yeah. We sat together.
Right.
He is my very dear friend.
Okay.
And I always say to people, don't underestimate my friend. He's smart. He can talk on any subject intelligently, whether it's climate change, dementia, veterans issues, any issue. I brought him to the BAPS Mandir in our riding.
Right.
And it's beautiful and beautiful spiritual place. And there's a museum.
Yes.
And Justin went to every exhibit. And he could comment intelligently on every exhibit, whether it was the history of time, the history of pie. And it was extremely impressive. And what I tell people is my friend has spent the last 8 years crisscrossing Canada, listening to Canadians, being there for their hopes and their dreams, being there for the hard times, and listening. What do they want to see? What change do they want to see?
And what is their answer?
Well, I know what I can tell you at our doors.
Yeah.
People want jobs.
Yes.
Our youth want jobs. I see amazing young people come into my office. They've got a degree. Some have 2 degrees. They've done everything right. They got into university and college and apprenticeships, and they can't find work. I have young people who've been out of work 1-2 years. So what I do, or I have a family member, a parent, they've got children. They haven't worked in 2 years. I go through the resume. I edit those resumes late into the night.
Wow.
Or you by yourself?
By myself, absolutely. And many times I will send versions back. They have to be right. If they haven't worked in 2 years, how are they feeding their children? I get them on a food program. Do they have the right clothes to go to the interview? We get them the clothes. We practice the interview. I get them into a jobs program. We follow up to see if they get the jobs. So we're hearing jobs, particularly for our youth, and we're hearing transit. It's hard to get from Etobicoke North to, say, an interview downtown. It could take 2 hours. That's 2 hours away from your family. It's hard to go there every day. We need transit, and that's why I'm so proud of Justin in making the largest promise for infrastructure in Canadian history. And we'll have a $10 billion investment in public transit.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਡੰਕਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ MP ਨੇ ਜੀ ਇਟੋਬੀਕੋ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੀਸਰੀ ਵਾਰਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਰੀ-ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਮੋੜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ ਆਸ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ ਔਰ ਸਮਝ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਯੂ ਆਰ ਆਲ ਵੈਲਕਮ ਇੱਕ ਛੋਟੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੈਣੀ ਪੈਣੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਕੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਟੀ ਡੰਕਨ ਹੋਣਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਔਰ ਮਨਨ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ